So all you really need to do in this life to succeed is live in an optimal way. What is the best I could do today? Did I try my best this past week? If you can figure out these things to live in a consistent way at the best of your ability, then you have the confidence to move forward and continue to do the things that you're doing that will ultimately allow you to achieve something better for your life, right? So like to succeed in life, you want to be on a consistent path. You want a good direction, and you want to know that you're doing as much as you're capable of. And so then you got to ask yourself a couple questions. What direction do I want to head in, right? Most people have no direction. They have no end goal. They are just caught up in the flow, and they never take the time to step back and think to themselves, what do I want to happen? The ones who do take that time to step back and try to figure that out, they don't even think more than a year ahead, right? You could plan out your life 10 years down the road. You're allowed to do that, right? It's not illegal to be like asking yourself questions of, well, where do I want to be when I'm 32? I've never even asked myself that question. It's hard to ask, but the hard-hitting questions are the ones with the greatest reward. So you need to ask yourself those questions. If you have the right directions as well, it makes everything so much easier, right? Could you imagine wasting a year of your life because you didn't know that the things that you were doing were not on the path to where you wanted to go? Most of us spend our whole lives doing that. So you got to figure out from the get-go. The earlier you figure out the vision for your life, the better, because the faster you can get on the correct direction to where you want to head, right? Then on top of that, you got to ask yourself, well, how could I, let's say I do have a vision for myself, which I have a rough idea. I want to be a content creator of some sort, a public speaker. I want to build a company around some type of merchandise, and then eventually use that to build a company, like a social media company. And then I want to use that to detach myself from money so that I can go back to school and learn and be a public figure in global politics, right? And so I'm using my platform that I'm building right now to build a company that separates me from money so that I can go back to school and then be a public speaker, a political figure, and make change in the world because I'm detached from money, so I don't have to worry about that, right? I don't have to worry about getting a check in order to put a bill through or whatever it is, right? I do the things that are actually right for the world. And that's my vision for my life. Those different steps kind of boil down in like a 30-second elevator pitch, let's say. But how do I know that I'm doing the best I could do in all those different areas? Well, I know the direction I want to head, right? So then now I got to figure out, does it make sense for me to try to learn a bunch about politics right now? I don't know, because I could learn, I find it very interesting, so maybe that makes sense, but the information is only useful to me when, I'm in a position where I have to have my public opinion on record, and that point is a little bit down the road. So I don't have to worry about that right now. I can immerse myself in books when the time gets closer, and right now I can start learning about it, but I don't really have to put all my time and effort on that because it's less important right now. It's more important after all these other pieces have fallen into place. Because if I don't have, if I don't have a company that's detached me from money, then it's a defeated purpose of going out and trying to become a politician, because then I'm not detached from money, right? And that's the goal in the first place, is to detach myself, and that's why I'm reordering the steps of my life so that I can be in the ideal position down here by tackling a different thing right now. That's why I'm not in school right now when all my friends are in school, because what's more important to me is to build a platform of some sort that I can use to create the company that will separate me from money, right? It's this whole cascading effect. So I don't have to read books right now, so I don't have to try my best in that area. Well, what do I have to try my best in? The first step of the plan. It's the first step of the vision, which is to build some type of social media platform. Well, how do I know that I'm trying my best in that area? What are the things that I'm good at, and am I maximizing all those areas in my life in relation to social media, such that I could build a platform for myself on this vision for my life, right? I'm kind of trying my best there, but not really. Because if you think about it, the only videos, well, let me give you a rundown of everything I'm posting, right? Once a week this whole year, I'll be posting a marathon recap that's around 3 to 4 minutes. I just posted the first one of Houston Marathon, and it was good, but I need to be posting videos on a daily basis, right? A much more consistent basis. So I'm posting these daily thoughts videos daily, but these are 15 minutes. It's self-improvement, it's direction, it's what's going on in my life, my thoughts, but it's not going to move the needle necessarily because it's not the type of social media platform that I want to build. So what I want to build, I want to have a platform where I can speak publicly with very interesting people and where I can share interesting stories. So those are the two focuses, or the foci. So then one of them would be having a podcast up and running that I could interview people literally on a daily basis, or as often as I could get them on, because my life is set up right now that I'm making the opportunity available to myself to be able to do something like that on a daily basis, right? I'm optimizing for social media. So then I need to figure out what all would it take to do a podcast. I could just do a podcast like this with nothing in the background and then call it a day, right? I think that I like to put out a slightly higher quality, but I don't want that to paralyze myself. So what is the one thing that would have to happen in order for me to be able to film videos on a consistent basis for a podcast? I would have to get some type of backdrop. And after I do that, it's basically just copy and paste of a script to a bunch of people over email and try to see how many people I could get, how many guests I could get on the podcast, right? And then at that point, it's just word of mouth. So how many videos could I post? And they're relatively easy to post afterwards. Okay, so in order for me to try my best, there's one thing up front that's, preventing me from taking on this goal for myself. So I need to figure out that one piece. I need to figure out, that's a utmost important piece, is that one. What is the backdrop for the podcast with Wyatt Moss, right? Figure that out. Once it's up, I can start emailing people, or even now I can start emailing people. I've already emailed 3, but am I trying my best there? No, I need to be reaching out to at least 10 people a day probably, right? Or at least 3. 3 a day would be pretty good. So then that's another area where I could try my best. Then after that, it's recording at least once a week, bare minimum. Because once again, there's 2 categories: entertaining videos and interesting conversations, right? And entertaining stories, interesting conversations. So then, it's kind of interesting to talk this out over camera because, that I'm boiling it down to those 2 things right now. And this is important so that I'm getting more clear on my direction. So not only do I want to build a platform for myself, I want to do it in these 2 areas: interesting conversations and entertaining stories. That's it. Okay, so then I can build out the interesting conversations over here with the podcast. I know that there's one step I have to take that's essential to be able to start doing this on a daily basis. And all this becomes very easy because I love to have a conversation with people after I have this one part set up so that I can have that quality for myself on these podcasts that I like to have in my videos. Over here on the entertaining video side, once a week I'll be doing the marathon videos, but I don't think that's enough. I think I need to be doing, I know I need to be doing more than that. And as well, marathons are interesting. They're entertaining. The reason I've chosen to do marathons as like the first piece of content, it's a consistent thing that I can do that's still somewhat impressive. And it allows me to get connected with pretty big sponsors because running is a big niche, right? It's something that is, everyone is into fitness in some way, or at least knows about it, right? If I did custom woodworking, it's a different niche. It's not as big. So running is something that I can do consistently, get sponsors, because that's the end goal. I need to have money in some way. If I'm optimizing my life for social media, it has to pay for itself. I can't do this because I don't have money. I can't do this without making money from it. But that's somewhat entertaining. I need to do some other type of entertaining videos. So then I think what I'm going to do, because once again, I got to do something that's people are going to enjoy watching on a consistent basis that moves me towards this goal. Well, one of the things I need to get better at for the public opinion and as well just a public presence is rejection therapy. Not being so caught up in what other people think about me, being more open to conversation with strangers and doing things spontaneously, because spontaneity leads to serendipity, right? And so if I want serendipitous moments in my life, just exciting things that happen like that, then I have to create the opportunity for that to happen. I should have touched on this in the last video, but part of the reason why I cut the mustache like this, when you want to succeed, when you want success to be inevitable in your life, you have to make opportunities for it to be inevitable. And one of those things is the conversations that you have So you have to open up the potential that you have more interesting conversations by being an interesting person. Well, this beard, mustache, chops thing opened up the door for a lot of people to ask me, like, what are you doing? And so then that one guy, when I was at the airport, he asked me, like, yo, man, what sports do you play? And I was like, well, I just ran a marathon. He's like, no kidding. It's like 3 hours, 39 minutes. This guy ran a sub-4 marathon. It's just one conversation because he saw this, and I'm a somewhat unique person that stood out, that he asked me the question, and you never know what those moments will lead to. Another thing that I have on this phone that I'm filming on, I've got a yellow phone case, right? It's one more thing that's like, that kid is a little bit different. When I was running, someone yelled at me. They're like, yo, nice shorts. Those are so cool. Or something along those lines. And like, how many of these things do you have to have? Because I wear these shorts all the time. And that's why I'm creating my own shorts brand pretty soon here. Sorry that I'm jumping around so much. I just had some caffeine. But anyways, how many of those conversations will it take for me to be successful in the category that I want to succeed in, right? Okay, so then entertaining videos. I want to do something that aligns with the public presence, getting better at rejection therapy. So then why don't I make some type of daily rejection therapy challenge, or every other day, or however often I can do it. It's just doing 100 rejection therapy challenges. And I think what I'm going to do, so that there's a little bit of substance to it, it takes a little bit of time. I want to do rejection therapy until I get 100 no's, right? Or 100 yeses, whatever it takes, whichever one is longer. So then like probably 100 yeses. Basically, I have to try a challenge constantly, 100 challenges, until someone says yes for that one thing, and then move on to the next. Okay, this is nice because this is daily content or semi-daily content that I could do in a story format and post it on TikTok because I'm optimizing my life for this. And then on top of that, it builds that strength up within me to be able to be less attached to other people's opinion. It's a dual purpose. It's a stacked action. One of the things I learned from this past year is that you want to set up your life for success to be inevitable as a series of stacked actions. Something that's going to build from today, the work that I put in will be useful in the future. Because imagine that every day that you put work towards this goal was useful in the future. Then you're building the ultimate pipeline for yourself to succeed at this thing. And then on top of that, you have the confidence every single day that the things I'm doing today will be useful. And then there's a new meaning over your life. The things I'm doing, although they might be menial, for example, balancing on the bouncing board for like 15 minutes, stretching my ankles, whatever it is, they are the things that will stack over time to be able to help me achieve this massive vision that I have for my life. And so they're not just menial tasks. They're essential tasks that will help me over time and will compound to create something great out of me. This piece of garbage will one day become something great because I'm willing to do the small things that will compound over time, right? Okay, so then that's the idea. It's like whatever you want to do, just narrow it down the vision. What are the things I want to do? Start with cast a broad net and then kind of boil it down. And this is a process that has literally taken me 2.5 years. I started posting TikToks November of 2019. That's when my first TikTok I ever posted got 3 million views. And that kind of got me hooked, right? And that's how they used to do it. That's how you got a lot of content creators to post, is that they would give them that boost out of nowhere, and then they would kind of like pull back your views so that you would post a lot. This is how TikTok was successful as an app, but regardless, that was when I posted my first TikTok. It is January like 18th or 19th, something like that, of 2024, right? First off, I need to know the date because I need to know the day of the week. I know it's Friday. I need to be more on top of these things. And that's something I need to figure out in life in general. But I started posting videos, 4 years and 4 months ago, and I still haven't made this thing a full-time career. It's not good, guys. It's taken me a long time to figure out my vision, but I also just haven't been consistent whatsoever. So the medicine is more like I'm prescribing a medication for myself in this video. So the doctor is prescribing himself, that whole phrase, right? This video is more useful for me than it is for you because it, in a way, it's allowing me to finally realize the things that I already knew were true, but once you vocalize them, it allows you to figure out on a more concise narrative what exactly it's going to take. Okay, so yeah, I think if you're trying to figure out how to succeed, which we all are, and you want to figure out how can I do my best so that you have that confidence that you're actually succeeding at the thing that you want to do as well as you're capable of doing, you're putting forth the most energy that you can towards this so that you have that confidence every single day when your head hits the pillow that you did your best, right? If you want that, you got to figure out what you want to do. You got to figure out what exactly it's going to take to get there. And then you got to go out and do it. So right now, I just posted the first marathon video. I've got another one this weekend, so I'll have to figure out what is that going to be about, right? Because it's just a practice marathon. It's not an official one. And then I got to figure out what is like an entertaining video that I can do on top of this. So you start with one thing, the marathon series. Then I'm going to stack on top of that some type of rejection therapy series. And then as a third piece of content, I'll do the podcast episodes. I need to get that piece up, the background, so that I actually have the ability to film these on a consistent basis. And so I'm removing the barriers one at a time to set up my life how I would enjoy living it, if that makes sense. I would have my quality of life would be so much better if I could record a podcast episode every single day, because that's how I've defined what success looks like in my own life. And so if I want to succeed at the things that I want for my life, then I have to do these things, remove these barriers, and one at a time tackle the to-do list of what it would take to make that reality. And could you imagine living a life so great? It aligns with your vision. Every second that you live in the world is exactly what you should be doing, exactly what you want to do, and it's moving towards something that you can use in the future. That's a great life. I want to live it. That's an inspiring vision. So I'll take that effort right now. I'll swallow my pride, do the small things, and figure out how to make that a reality, because that's the best way to live. And it's an inspiring vision. You know, if I want to achieve these massive heights in life, it starts with these small steps. And so, but the nice part, once again, is that I know that these small steps are at the bottom of this massive temple, right? So I'm walking up this mountain, this temple, this staircase. And so even though they are small steps, even though they are at the bottom, it's leading to something. And I got to keep that in mind, because now I know that this is 1% of my life. This is 1% of what I'm going to achieve in my life. And if I'm going to achieve some massive heights, well, then this 1% is worth quite a lot. Regardless of how menial the actions are, if I have this great vision for myself, well, then this step is proportional to the goal. So then I can move towards it with the confidence that I'm doing my best to move towards this inspiring vision for myself. And you should do the same. Figure out what you want in life. Figure out what it's going to take to get there. Start taking the small steps and realize that they're not small. They are just as even or just as valuable as the other steps, because you need those small steps up front to be able to take the bigger ones down the road, right? In a way, even though they're less strenuous, let's say, they're still steps. They're still 1%. And so then it doesn't matter what effort you're able to put forth right now. It just matters that you're moving towards this, on this path. Because every unit of time that you spend moving towards it is a percentage of the amount of time that it will take to achieve the end goal. And so you should be trying your best to put as many units of time in towards this goal so that you can achieve it as soon as possible. Because it exists within you to be able to do something at that caliber of vision, or else you never would have gotten the dream in the first place, right? A vision, a dream, an idea captivates you. It takes hold of you because it sees you as a worthy target to bring it into the world. And so then if this massive vision that I have of my life has captivated me, I know that I have what it takes to become worthy of this dream, to become worthy of this idea. I just have to take those small steps. You can do the same, and we can have a great life because it's within our hands, right? The power is within our hands to have a wonderful life if we choose to take the steps towards it. Why not us?